In this video, as promised, I'm going to show you how you can create custom package names for your very own files. Right now, inside of app.jsx, we have to use this components folder, then the greeter file require path in order to ever fetch the greeter component. Afterwards, we're going to be able to simply type the name greeter, and everything is going to work as expected. It's much cleaner and it's definitely preferred. With this change, we can also make the changes in greeter.jsx. These ones are a little simpler, but we'll still be able to remove the // from both of them. So go ahead and remove them from greeter.jsx, app.jsx, and now we're going to head into webpack config to make the final change. All we need to do is add a few more things to this resolve attribute that we already have specified. First up, just like output, we want to tell it where all this needs to happen. By specifying the root and setting it equal to dir name, we can do just that. And remember, dir name is a variable that's available in Node.js by default. You don't have to do anything special to get it. And it simply gives you the path to whatever file you're in. So in this case, it gives us the path that leads to the Hello React folder. The next thing we need to do is set an alias object, and this is where all the fun stuff happens. Here we can pick names for our components, tell Webpack where to find that component, and it's going to do all the magic behind the scenes. So the first one is greeter. We want to be able to access greeter using require greeter. And when we do that, Webpack should look in the public folder, then inside of components. And finally, look for the file called greeter.jsx. Next up, let's go ahead and do greeter message. We want to be able to access it using require greeter message. And Webpack can find it in public /components /greeter message.jsx. Last but not least, we want to be able to require greeter form without any path information. And this can be found just like the other ones in public components. And finally, the file name is greeterform.jsx. And that's all it takes. We can go ahead and save our file, run Webpack from the terminal, and you can see we actually get an error. Over inside of my Webpack config, I failed to put a comma after my alias object. So I'm going to add that in, rerun Webpack, and this time everything works as expected. Now with this in place, I'm going to fire up the server just to make sure the app actually works. Just because bundler works doesn't mean everything is going to fall into place. And there we go. We have the app working, and it looks like the data flow is still working properly. And this just makes our app a little easier to manage. It doesn't really do anything earth-shattering, but instead of specifying path names, we can simply require different modules like this. And it is useful if you move your require statements from file to file. If I were to copy this into another file, and I didn't use aliases, there's a chance I would have to change the path if the two files were in different folders. And that turns into a real nightmare really quick. Using Webpack aliases, we can create our own custom names and make loading our own modules that much easier. One last thing I want to touch on, and this is another fun freebie. Inside of the terminal, I'm going to shut everything down and type clear to clear the terminal. That's CLS if you're using Windows. And what I'm going to do is type Webpack -w and hit enter. And this command does a few things. First up, it does run Webpack just like it's always done. But you can notice the terminal isn't asking you for another command. That's because Webpack's still running. It's going to listen for changes in your files, and it's going to automatically rebundle it once a file changes. This means I can open up a new terminal tab, and in this tab I can run the server. So now I have my server up, and I have Webpack in my other tab waiting for changes. I'm going to go ahead and refresh my browser. And you can see the app displays just the same. Hello, Andrew. Inside of Atom, inside of app.jsx, I'm going to change Andrew to Jen, save the file, and without needing to go to the terminal and run Webpack, I can refresh the browser, and sitting right here is Hello, Jen. So using Webpack W, we can save ourselves some headaches and some hassle. It's always going to be running in the background. And if it fails, you'll see an error message just like before. You can fix it and everything will restart automatically. That's it for this video. I'll see you next time.